What's up, guys? Yanni from 801 Garage here. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on the WRX. Remember, with these cars you want to be super religious about when you do your oil changes. It helps you avoid ringland, and nobody wants that. Nobody. So make sure that we are changing it every 3,000 miles. I'm actually about 500 miles over where I should have, so don't ever do that. Be super careful on when you're doing your oil changes. And I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do it today. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so now we have the car lifted up, and now before we get started, I can't stress this enough. Please, anytime that you lift up your car, use jack stands. Every single time, please. You don't want to be that one story that the jack failed and the car fell on top of you, so please make sure you're always using jack stands. The car and actually take off the plastic piece that's under there. It's going to be kind of a tight squeeze, so I'm going to try to show you as best as I can since I don't have a lift. But there's going to be 2 bolts in the front, kind of right there, and then 1 bolt in the back. And then some clips that we got to take off. So here from the front, here's the grill. If we're looking straight under the car, the first bolt is going to be right here. And then if you look right over on this side, second bolt's right here. Okay. So again, 1 right there, and then 1 all the way down here. Okay, and then if we're going down, the last bolt is going to be right there, right in the middle. So it's basically on the very back of the plastic piece, right in the middle. Now, if you're just changing the oil, you don't have to take this black piece off. Your drain plug's right there, so you can just undo it and let the oil flow out. I take off the whole entire thing just in case, because I don't like making a mess, and we're also changing the oil filter. So those are the 3 screws that you got to take off, and then also if we're going over here on the sides, right behind your fog lights, you're going to look for this clip up here, right there. It's going to be right behind your tire, right up at the top. There's 1 right here and 1 at the exact same spot on the other side of the plastic piece. And so once you have all that off, this is just going to slide straight down. Now make sure you're keeping all of these in a Ziploc bag or something so you don't lose any of them. Okay, let me go ahead and take all those off and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, so now we're finally going to get under the car. Here's what you're going to need. For your drain bolt, you're going to have a 17mm. And then for the 3 on the sides that I was telling you about, you're going to need a 12mm. So we're going to go ahead and get down there and go ahead and take those off. Now for the clips on the sides, all you're going to do is take a flathead screwdriver, and then I'm going to show you how to pop those off real quick. So if you're looking at the clip right here, there's little indents in it on the sides. So you're going to pry out the indent and pry out that middle piece first. Kind of just wiggle it out. And then after this middle piece right here is popped out, like that, then you take your screwdriver and go to the bottom, and then just dig it out from the bottom a little bit, and then you can just pull it out. Like that. Alright guys, so now we're going to start on the bottom of the car. Like I said, these 3 on the bottom are going to be your 12mm, so we're going to take those off real quick. And remember, try to keep these Alright, so now make sure you put these in a safe place along with your clips. I am very good at losing bolts and clips. So if you're like me, make sure you're putting these in a Ziploc bag or something you're going to find them easily, so you're not losing them. Now, once you have all three of these off and your two clips, then this plastic piece is just going to come right off. Alright guys, so now we're going to get to the actual draining of the oil. Now here's the thing. With these, I like to have a bigger lever to get more leverage on it to be able to get this drain plug off a little bit easier. If you don't have one, that's okay. You don't need one. What you do need is one of these guys down here. Let me show you real quick. Right there on the floor. One of these. Which is just something to dump your oil into. So when your oil comes out of your drain plug, it's got to go somewhere. So you got to make sure you take it into one of these so it can be disposed of properly. Which is taking it to your closest AutoZone or O'Reilly's or wherever, and they'll dump it for you for free. Alright, so now we're going to get this off. Now remember, your drain plug is a 17 millimeter, okay? Okay, so now that you broke it loose, now that's when you want to position your oil pan here, and then you can go ahead and get this taken off. Okay guys, so now that you removed your drain plug, what we're going to do is take some paper towels and just kind of clean up the area around it. Let that drain for a little while. Okay, so then we're going to take our drain plug. We're going to put our new gasket on it that comes with your oil filter from Subaru. And then we're just going to put that back up in there. And then we're going to move over to our oil filter. Alright guys. Okay, so we replaced our gasket onto our drain bolt. And now we're going to go ahead and put this back on. Just kind of hand tighten it in. Clean up the area around there again. Just make sure it's nice and clean, you got no leaks. Okay, again, for now just hand tighten. And then now we're going to move over here to our oil filter. Alright guys, so now we're going to move on to the oil filter. And for the oil filter, you're going to need one of these. Let me focus a little bit. Okay, so these are the oil filter removers. So what you do is you take these, you put it onto your ratchet. Boom. Stick it on the oil filter, and then just take it off. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to that. Okay, so just loosen it up with the ratchet a little bit, and then you can just take it off with your hand. Now be careful, there is going to be some oil coming out of this as well. Alright guys, so now we're back under. When you get your new oil filter, these are the ones from Subaru, what you're going to do is on the inside, there's a little black ring. That's your gasket. What you're going to do is take some of the oil from whatever you just dumped out or from your new one, it doesn't really matter. And you're just going to lubricate that gasket. So go to the inside, the outside, under, everything before you put it back in. And then you take your new oil filter, go ahead and just hand screw it in. Alright, so hand tighten it, and then after you hand tighten it, go ahead and grab your oil filter tool, so when you use to take it off. Now we're going to use it to put it back on. And again, you don't want it too tight, just kind of as far as your hand will take it, and then just that's good to go. Sometimes they get stuck on there, so you just give it a little whack with your ratchet and you're good to go. Okay, now we're going to tighten up that drain bolt and then we'll be all set. Kind of the same thing, just as far as your hand will go, tighten it a little bit more and then you're good to go. Now here's the thing, when you remember, I used this big long one to get it to loosen it. Don't use this one to tighten it, because if you tighten it with this big giant one, you can get too much pressure on it and you can snap the bolt. I always recommend just using your normal one to tighten it and using the other one to loosen it. Okay, so now we're just going to put in the new oil and then we're done. Good to go. Alright guys, so now we're nearing the end here. Now what we're going to do is actually put the oil back in. Now here is where you wouldn't think that I would need to say this, but you'd be surprised. So here, where it says engine oil, is where you're going to put in your oil. Don't put it in the windshield wiper fluid. Don't put it in the coolant. No. All these, everything around, don't touch any of those right now. Okay? Only the one that says engine oil. And that's where your engine's gonna, that's where your engine's gonna go. That's where your oil's gonna go. Now, I'm using Castrol Edge Full Synthetic 5W30. If you don't use it, or if you don't use that brand, that's fine. You don't have to use it. That's just what I use. That's what I run in all my cars, and none of them have blown up on me. So, knock on wood, right? Okay, so we're gonna take this cap off. Get your little funnel here because I'm terrible at pouring, and I'll make a mess. So, all right. Okay, so we're gonna pour it all the way until we get to the 0.5 down here at the bottom. Then we're gonna check the oil levels. Okay, so here's what we're going to do next. This is what I do anyways. So we're going to put the cap back on, turn on the car, let it run for a second, turn it back off, check the oil levels. If it needs a little bit more, then we'll top it off at that point. Alright guys, so for this part, make sure that the car is down on the floor, all flat, can't be lifted so that it's uneven. And then we're going to check the oil. For those of you guys that don't know how to change the oil, check the oil, I'm sorry. It's going to be a 2-in-1 video for you. So here's your dipstick that has the oil. So what you're going to do is you're going to take it out. First you're going to wipe off all the oil that's on there. Put it back in. Pull it out one more time. And then check it again. And try to see where the oil's at. On this bottom part, if you see it, it's twisted right here and twisted right here in the middle. What you want is for the oil to be in between these 2 points. Okay, that's where you want it at. For me right now, it's still here at the bottom. So I'm going to add a little bit more oil so that it's sitting kind of in the middle, and that's where you want it at. And then once you check it and it's right there in the middle, you're good to go. Okay guys, so we're all done. All you got to do now is make sure you put your plastics back on under the car. Same process as we did it before earlier, just backwards. Make sure you put the plastic on, put the little clips on the sides that are behind your tires, put the 3 screws under there, and then you're all good to go. Make sure that everything's tightened up, your oil plug, your oil filter, up here in your engine compartment, make sure this is all the way down, and then you're all set. You changed the oil. Good job, you're a mechanic now, kind of. But that's basically it. Then just make sure you clean up any oil that you spilled, If you did spill any oil, go ahead and get any engine degreaser, spray it on your floor, and it'll come out like a dream. Alright, so if you guys have any questions or anything was unclear, make sure you go ahead and just shoot it down in the comments, and I'll hit you guys back up on that. Alright, thanks guys, one more. This is Yanni from 801 Garage. Thanks for watching.